the official opening of the 5th Pan-African Parliament scheduled for this morning in Midrand. New parliamentarians are expected to be sworn in. This is ahead of the opening address by the chairperson of the African Union. Now, Africa Today anchor Hugo Ribatika is following the proceedings there. Hugo, good morning to you. So, proceedings about to get underway. Tell us what the process that will be followed is going to be, given the tensions we've seen in the past when it comes to the rotational presidency of the Pan-African Parliament.
Good morning, Toli. Thanks so much for having us. Well, before we even talk about how it's all going to pan out, is the one question is, will we commence on time? And that's purely because in true ESCOM style, we are under load shedding. So there is actually no power here at the Pan-African Parliament, a bit of a baptism of fire, if you will. But coming to proceedings, this is the official day one of the Pan-African Parliament, and not much is going to happen outside of those members that are new, that are first-timers, that have been inducted, if you will. They will go through a process during the course of this morning of induction. But all that we're waiting for really is going to be happening tomorrow, and that is the issue of who is the next Pan-African president. As you will recall, 12 months ago, heated conversations, in fact, fracas, if you will, at who should be the next president of the Pan-African Parliament. And the issue really has been around the rotation system that is being advocated for, in fact, by both sides, except that the Eastern Bloc has said that it has not yet been ratified. So they're saying, we're quite happy for us to go ahead and do the rotation, but it has to be ratified first. SADC, on the other hand, are supporting Chief Charumbira from Zimbabwe as their chosen candidate. But earlier I spoke to MP Jeremiah Chihana from Malawi, who feels that Chief Charumbira, in fact Zimbabwe, has been in that position for many years, and it's time to hand over the baton. But what I've got is I have a guest with me who is the campaign manager for SADC and also the opposition leader in Namibia, Honorable Johannes. Thanks so much for speaking to us. We seem to have a challenge on our hands if we look back 12 months ago at the fracas that occurred here in the Pan-African Parliament. What guarantee do we have that the same is not going to happen come election time tomorrow?
Well, I think the Southern African region has remained firm and on record that rotation is a principle adopted by the African Union. We have won the argument. The legal argument has been won at the Permanent Representative Council in Addis last year. We went to the PRC last year. They agreed with us that all organs of the AU must apply rotational leadership. We went to the Executive Council, which is represented by foreign ministers of Africa. They accepted the position of the PRC that there must be rotation. This matter went up to the Bureau of Heads of States in Addis. They are agreeing. What is happening now is a victory for Southern Africa that the AUC legal team, the African Union, will just come and read the rules and guidelines of rotational leadership. So those countries or regions that are trying to pit candidates against Chief Charumbira or against Southern Africa, it's not their turn. South Sudan, the man of South Sudan has never even served a single year in the national parliament. South Sudan doesn't even have a functioning parliament or an elected parliament. And today he wants to be the leader of the continental body. There is no political dexterity, no political experience to be able to come at the continental body. So what we are saying is that the rules are very clear. 12 months ago, we lobbied the African Union because we escalated the crisis to the organs of the AU. Everyone agrees with us. It is a turn of the North and the turn of the South. So the only candidates that are legally to compete with one another is the North and the South. Our permutation metrics are in order to win this thing because the North is supporting us, the South is consolidated. There are a number of regions that are supporting us, the West Central, because there are a number of dynamics. People want PAP to move forward. What we do not want to see is a pandemonium that occurred last election. Those that realizes that rotation has become the rule now wants to cause a pandemonium so that they collapse this election. We know the strategies that are being deployed to collapse the election. So the first day will be not an easy day, but we are urging calmness, we are urging political wits that must be applied as leaders, because parliamentarians must understand one thing, that they did not send themselves here. They are sent on behalf and in trust of the people of Africa. The people of Africa are bequeathing a responsibility to us, for us to work for them. Socio-economic issues that are challenging them, housing, the youth bulge. Today there are hundreds of Africans being killed in Morocco because they want to cross over through migration, because of no economic liberties that Africans are enjoying. So those politicians that wants to come here and cause pandemonium and fight and fracas, it's not what PAP is meant for. PAP is a body that is currently now a advisory body that should advise on model laws on how Africa should get itself out of poverty. So we are ready. We have won the battle, the argument of rotation. The AU is confirming that argument. So those that wants to cause a pandemonium, let them do that. But we are going to be cool-headed. We are going to focus on the ball. The ball is that there must be rotational leadership, as it is enshrined in all the statutes of the organs of the African Union, and we are going to do that.
Well, the issue at hand is two parts. And the first part is that the Eastern Bloc says it has not been ratified. Whilst it might be agreed in principle, it has not been ratified. And the second is a small matter of Malawian MP Jeremiah Chihana, who has also thrown his hat his name in the hat, and arguing that it's now time for Malawi, because Zimbabwe has been in this leadership position for time immemorial, according to him.
That's a very. Let me answer the latter question first. I think that's a very flawed argument. No one in the Southern African region has ever occupied the presidency. Zimbabwe is fighting for presidency. Zimbabwe is not fighting for what the position they had in the vice president. We are not fielding Chief Charombira as a vice president that he was. We are fielding a president that was never occupied by Southern Africa. So Chihana's argument is very flawed. He is being used by agents. We know who is using him. He doesn't have the regional support. Heads of states, government.
Sorry, Honourable Vanani, I'm going to have to ask you one final question before we go back to studio, and that is, what happens if there is a similar impasse to what we had last year? Is there going to be chaos yet again?
Well, we will not want to force a chaos here. The AU, Faki is here. He must conduct the elections according to the rules and procedures of the African Union. And the African Union rules and procedures are saying there must be rotational principle. It's a principle that we have won. The argument is already won.
Honourable Vanani, thank you very much. Toli, that's Honourable Vanani. He's the opposition leader in Namibia, and also fighting for SADC to take hold of this position. And we are hoping, based on what he said, that all order will prevail tomorrow come election time. But until then, we keep our fingers crossed that we will not have the same amount of chaos that we had at last year's Pan-African Parliament.
Hugo Ribatika, thank you very much. That's my colleague live at the Pan-African Parliament ahead of a very, very crucial matter, and that is going to be decided tomorrow. You have heard the delegate talking to him there, saying that the African Union Commission chairperson, Mousa Faki, is going to be present, and so we shall see whether chaos will break loose in the presence of the African Union representative.